Hello and welcome to episode 77 of the How to Survive podcast. My name is Joe, and this week we're talking about the 2016 movie Under the Shadow. It's an Iranian language film, which is available on Netflix. It's well worth your time, so seek it out, because we'll be spoiling it very shortly. If you've got any thoughts on how you'd survive in Under the Shadow, or next week's movie, Split, which is from this year, feel free to email us on HowToSurviveShow@gmail.com. Or you can reach us on Twitter @HowToSurvivePod. Be sure to leave us a review if you enjoy what you hear, and of course share it with anyone who loves movie podcasts about trying to survive in reasonably good horror films. And sometimes reasonably bad ones, and sometimes really awful ones. Most of the time reasonably awful ones, really. Without further ado, on with the show.
این کوفتی که نیامده همینجور بیاد بالا سر ما. مطمئنم به خودش چیزایی آورده.
Hello and welcome to episode 77 of the How to Survive podcast. That means we've passed 70 episodes since episode 7 and 71 episodes since episode 6 and 50 episodes since episode 27.
Some quite impressive maths there on
Yeah.
the show by Joe Sherrill.
Yes, let me just put my calculator away.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm very well, yeah.
You are Chris, by the way.
Yes, I am.
In case you'd forgotten. And I am Joe. And you, dear listener, are
in for a treat.
Because we are all under the shadow this week.
Yes.
The 2016 psychological horror.
Yeah.
Under the Shadow.
Yeah. Spooky horror.
Yes. Iranian language movie set in Iran.
Yeah.
In Tehran.
Mm-hmm.
It was the UK's nomination for the Foreign Language Oscar.
Yes.
At the Academy Awards. The 89th Academy Awards this year.
Yeah. When you say in Tehran, it sounds like a northern person saying in Iran.
In Tehran.
Yeah.
Like internet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. We should get Peter Kay to do this podcast.
Yeah, he'd be great.
He'd be better, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
In many ways.
He's one of our nation's greatest comedians.
So final warning, listener, that Under the Shadow is available on Netflix in the UK, and I think most territories as well.
Probably.
So do go away, watch it. It's highly worthwhile.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very good film indeed. Because we're about to throw on with a spoilerific recap.
Yeah.
For anyone who wants that instead of watching the film for some reason.
And then afterwards, obviously, we'll chat about the film and then go on to our staple How to Survive discussion.
Yeah. And then we'll know another one.
Yeah.
Another.
The 77th film solved.
Yeah. Actually, it works out to about 80 by now, Chris. Well, we've done bonus episodes.
Well, fine. That's why they're considered a bonus, Joe.
Mm-hmm. Quite right. Do you think people are looking back on the Wallace and Gromit episode and thinking,
thank God I know how to survive. Were I ever to be confronted with a were-rabbit.
Yeah, good episode. Those were the good old days, weren't they?
Yeah, heady days.
Under the Shadow.
Anyway, the spectre of war.
Under the Shadow begins in Tehran, Iran, in the 1980s. My research, Chris, tells me that this is likely during the 1985 attacks.
Yeah.
As these were the main ones to involve missile strikes.
Yeah, the War of the Cities.
Yes.
I think it was also known.
Yeah. We read the same Wikipedia page.
Probably.
I see.
Yeah.
Which is say before we start this recap, Chris, that obviously it's in the Farsi language.
Yeah.
And we're likely to get a lot of pronunciations wrong because we don't speak Farsi.
Well, we'll try and speak Nirzi instead. Carry on.
Former medical student Shideh has been blocked from re-entering education. The university won't accept her due to her political activism during the revolution a few years before.
Yeah.
Shideh is devastated and throws away all of her medical textbooks, except for one, which was given to her by her mother, which had just begun studying. She confides in her husband, Iraj, who is a qualified doctor, and who is quick to remind Shideh that he avoided political activism, and that's why he's allowed to be a doctor.
Yeah, victim blaming.
Yeah. He upsets Shideh by telling her that all this may be for the best. The next day, Iraj reveals that he's been called up for national service. Before leaving, he comforts their daughter, Dorsa, by telling her that her favourite doll, Kimia, will protect her while he's away. After her father leaves, Dorsa begins acting strangely. She is continually scared and wakes up in the night. She tells her mother that a new neighbour boy named Mehdi has told her about evil spirits called jinn, which haunt them.
Yeah.
Them being the people in the building.
Yeah.
During an air raid, which happens frequently in the film, they have to sort of take shelter in a basement.
Yeah.
Mehdi whispers something in Dorsa's ear, and then he appears to hand her some kind of lucky charm. Later, Shideh finds a ball of fluff in Dorsa's bed, which she throws in the bin. I'm sure that wouldn't have any repercussions.
Yeah.
She then goes to Mehdi's aunt, Mrs. Ibrahimi, with whom he is staying. And she says to, you tell Mehdi to stop telling my daughter these ghost stories because it's spooking her quite badly.
Yeah.
Mrs. Ibrahimi explains that Dorsa must have been mistaken, that Mehdi has been mute since his parents were killed in a barrage attack.
Spooky.
Besides, explains Mrs. Ibrahimi, jinn are very real. They travel on the wind, and they prey on people during times of high anxiety. So that's obviously inopportune for Shideh, because Dorsa has now developed a terrible fever and appears to be hallucinating. Despite Shideh being assured by her friend, another male doctor, that there appears to be nothing medically wrong with her, there almost certainly is. The next day, a missile strike attacks the building. It doesn't blow up, but it does cause the death of an elderly neighbour upstairs who dies of a heart attack, despite Shideh's attempts to save him.
Yeah.
The daughter of the man who died tells Shideh that she's going to leave town to arrange his burial, but not before frantically and stressfully asking Dorsa to describe the spirits she keeps seeing, claiming that her father appeared to die of fright, not from the missile itself, but from a jinn. After the missile strikes, weird things begin to happen. First, Dorsa finds that her doll, Kimia, has gone missing, leading her to apparently become more ill and more anxious about visits from jinn.
Yeah, the same doll that her father, Iraj, said would protect her.
Yes, and now apparently seems incapable of protecting her because it's gone missing. Mrs. Ibrahimi and Dorsa both seem to be convinced that a jinn arrived with the missile.
Yeah.
Mrs. Ibrahimi explains that jinn always steal something important to their victim. Mehdi, the mute boy, asks Shideh whether they found Dorsa's doll, all of which seems stressful and upsetting for Shideh, who is now having frantic nightmares in which she is attacked by the jinn in the form of the dead neighbour, as well as a vision of her husband in bed with her, despite the fact that he's stationed hundreds of miles away. The rest of the neighbours leave the city for safer climes, including the Ibrahims. This leaves just Shideh and Dorsa alone in the building, which they both seem increasingly sure is haunted.
Yeah.
Shideh is anxious and stressed to find that her Jane Fonda workout VHS has gone missing. She finds it torn to shreds in the bin. She accuses Dorsa, who of course denies any involvement. Later that night, Shideh, apparently in a sleepwalking state, stressfully and frantically performs the workout from the VHS in front of a blank television.
It's quite a creepy image.
It is. And it's stressful and upsetting for Dorsa, who walks in on the whole performance.
Yeah.
After another particularly vivid vision, Shideh escapes the building with Dorsa, going for help. However, she is arrested for being improperly dressed and is threatened with lashes if she does it again. Shideh decides that enough is enough and that they should leave the building to go and live with Iraj's parents out of town. But she agrees to help Dorsa look for her doll before they leave. Getting her priorities right, I see. She spends several days tearing the apartment to pieces looking for it, her search punctuated by increasingly vivid visions of a floating chadar. A chadar being like a shawl that the Iranian women cover their hair with.
Yeah.
Both the chadar and ghostly phone call, and this is one of these things I'm probably pronouncing wrong, by the way.
Yeah.
Both the chadar and a ghostly phone call from what appears to be her husband tell Shideh that she is an unfit mother.
Yeah.
One of her big fears. She asks Dorsa if she can see the chadar, and Dorsa tells her that the chadar is a kind lady who wants to help her find the missing doll, and who tells Dorsa that she will look after her better than her own mother can.
Yeah.
Another one of her insecurities.
Starting to think that something's going a bit wrong here.
Yeah. Shideh climbs onto the roof, and staring into the hole left by the missile, she sees her medical textbook in the flat which she was struck by the bomb.
Yeah, in the rubble.
Yeah, which was given to her by her mother, of course. She returns to the drawer in her bedroom where she'd previously left the book, and there she finds Dorsa's doll, with its arms, legs and head pulled off. Dorsa walks in on the scene and is anxious and stressed to find the remains of her doll.
Yeah, because obviously she thinks that her mother's done it.
Yes, exactly. Her mother fixes it with tape, but before they can make good on their escape, an air raid siren goes off. They take refuge in the basement, but Shideh is torn between the daughter she brought down into the basement with her, and one that appears to be calling her from their apartment upstairs.
Yeah.
She heads upstairs, kicking basement daughter in the head. However, she soon realises that basement daughter is the real daughter.
Yeah.
Before she can apologise, the two are attacked by the Shideh apparition, which traps them both inside a giant Shideh.
Yeah.
Shideh helps daughter to the basement stairs, but Shideh becomes stuck in the floor of the basement like quicksand. Daughter sets down her doll and helps her mother to safety. The two escape by driving headlong through the garage door and into the night. And we finish on the revelation that Kimia, the doll's head, and Shideh's textbook remain inside the building.
Yeah.
Eerie stuff.
Yeah.
What did you think of Under the Shadow?
It's a very spooky film. It's very much like The Babadook, which we people may not have realised that we covered because it was one of the Halloween bonus episodes.
Yeah, along with Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah, so if you scoot back through the back catalogue and find the first of the two Halloween specials, that is the episode on Babadook. And if you've seen that, you'll know that there's quite a lot of similarities between this and the Babadook, especially the mother, the sort of spectral presence that seems to be haunting them, but you're not sure the boundaries quite between what is objectively something that's haunting them and what is a reflection of someone, the protagonist's sort of failing mental state.
Where do you come down on this side? Because it's, I mean, with the Babadook,
yeah,
it's largely ambiguous, but I'd say by the end you're fairly certain that it's mental illness.
It's largely ambiguous until the point that it's not.
Whereas last week we did Lights Out.
Yeah,
and I'm going to spoil that now, so skip on.
Well,
15
that's
seconds.
ambiguous until it's not as well.
Yeah,
like, and if you've seen Lights Out, then you know what that means. But I think again, this film is sort of like is more in line with the Babadook in terms of it's harder. It's harder to pin down for longer, and if anything, I'd say that the film concludes without a definite, confirmation of it being one way or the other. Because I think that all of the, the things that happen that are sort of, the overtly scary moments, they're all still quite sort of surreal and
hallucinatory.
Yeah, and they appear to have some sort of reflection of either the sort of wide cultural context or the sort of current context that Shideh finds herself in, and like her emotional turmoil. And I'm sure we'll talk about this a bit later in more detail. Sure. But I think it's a difficult one to pin down. I think I would come down more on the side of it being, a reflection of mental illness than it is definitely clearly a ghost.
I think that's fair. I think all the introductions to the ghosts or the ghost, the jinn, seem to be like come after someone else has said it. Yeah. So, I mean, the idea of it being a lady. First, she sees like a haunted Shideh, the shore. Yeah. And then she talks to daughter about it, and she says, "Oh, yeah, that's a lady I talked to." But that could be, is that definitive proof that they're both seeing the same thing?
Yeah, but I mean, like with these films, it's always difficult to tell what exactly is and isn't happening, and whether she's having that conversation at all. Yeah, she
has full conversations with Iraj, her husband. Yeah, which
don't happen or appear to not be happening at all.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I think whether or not it is definitely she's mentally ill or she's being haunted, it's sort of academic because the symptoms are the same. Yeah. Broadly, like things like waking up and thinking that her husband's lying next to her. There's a particularly creepy moment I found where she wakes up and there's an old man staring at her who she chases, and he's sort of like
gets swallowed by the ceiling.
Yeah, gets swallowed up by the ceiling.
He's the dead man who she tried to save.
Yeah. And that's particularly haunting. Like I said, there's the bit with where she's sort of doing the exercise tape, but to a blank screen. Yeah, it's quite unsettling.
It's affecting, isn't it?
Yeah. And obviously there are two sort of moments where she's in the stairway. Firstly, when she sort of goes upstairs and then sees the Shideh like fly into her apartment and shut the door, which is quite shocking. And then also I think the film does a really good job of like showing not only like a stressful sort of Babadook style situation, but like having the overall like shadow of the war over the top, like the added, your house exactly. And the moment where the air raid siren's going off, and then she's holding onto her daughter, but can hear her daughter calling to her from another room as well. That's like a real like, oh my Christ, like this is the worst stress that you can possibly imagine sort of moment. And
they say the jinn attacks people basically when they are in a state of high anxiety. Yeah. And that, I mean, this is the most stressful situation you could probably imagine. Being in a war zone, more or less alone, and trying to protect an ill child. It's,
Yeah. It's like, it could be that she's driven to sort of severe anxiety and hallucination through the situation, or it could be, you know, as we said, a jinn. But I think the film, like, you know, really having that sort of overwhelmingly terrible threat looming over you the whole time does sort of ramp up the tension to sort of like to a sort of real boiling point. I think it does that very well.
Yeah, Shideh does seem to be trapped from all angles, basically. Yeah, both literally and metaphorically. Every male character in the film seems to contribute in some way to her decaying sanity or state of mind.
It's like they all exist to sort of admonish her.
Yeah. So the university admissions officer, who basically stops her from following her ambition, Iraj, her husband, who tries to convince her that she shouldn't want to follow her ambition, basically. Yeah. You've got Mr. Ibrahimi, who's a very religious man who keeps like chewing her out for keeping the door unlocked. Yeah. I mean, so he literally puts up a barrier which she has to drive through at the end to get away.
Yeah. It is like, of course, which is, he says about the door being locked earlier, and not to mention the sort of spectral the spectral male presences that take form in her hallucinations.
Yeah, I mean, the only one I couldn't really pin down. I mean, the police are obviously it's a man's world in Iran. You can't go out not wearing your chador. And the male doctor friend who's like the voice of like reassurance, but is also a source of jealousy because that's the job she wants to do, and there's no reason that he should be doing it, she shouldn't, basically. Yeah,
and it like,
does seem unfair.
Yeah, it does, and I think that it's almost like she's got control over this one facet of her life. Like she won't give up her home, she won't make her child leave her home. Yeah, and it's like the whole film is just eroding away at her confidence in her ability to do that the whole time. Like whether it's through all this sort of constantly being admonished and like marginalized by cultural or gender forces, to just the fact that everyone else leaves. And like even the doctor that she goes to see with her daughter, he's saying, oh yeah, I'm here today but I'm going at the weekend, like I'm getting out of the city. It's just like everyone is like she has no support system whatsoever, and like her whole system of support sort of crumbles as the film goes on. Yes, and that again sort of just adds to the building tension.
Yeah, I agree. And do you think it's a coincidence that the thing that sort of the main haunting presence is what appears to be a possessed chador?
Yeah, no, I think that's obvious. Yeah. Like it's
and she gets trapped in one at the end.
Yeah, I think that's a very clear like visual metaphor. I wondered if it was, it had like quite a distinct pattern. I wondered if it was supposed to be, or to me it suggested maybe that it was evoking her mother, who we learn has like died some months ago, and whether the something about the distinct pattern made me think that maybe it was a pattern that was significant to Shideh. Right. And so maybe it was like
it was the spectre of her mother.
Exactly, yeah. Like not in a literal sense, but like something to sort of haunt her.
Yeah, because she certainly is haunted by the memory of her mother. I mean, Iraj mentions it, like you've only wanted to be a doctor since your mother died. Yeah. And that's probably true because her mother gave her that book, and she obviously wants to impress her. But not only that, she wants to be a good mother because she thinks that's what,
Yeah, that's what you should do.
Yeah. And she even turns the photo of her mother, if you recall, she like slams that down because she can't bear to like look at it.
Yeah.
Because she's obviously ashamed of what she's doing, I guess.
Yeah, it's a very like multi-layered sort of character and sort of character arc, I guess. I guess we sort of skirted around the cultural context of the film.
Right.
I would wonder if you want to talk about that in depth.
Yeah, sure. I think that probably makes sense. Then we know even more about how we're going to survive against Jinn.
Well, like as you say, the monster sort of evokes a headscarf or a chadder. But I sort of I really liked how the monster or the Jinn appeared to be a sort of like reflection of the cultural context. So everything it seemed to do appeared to be sort of reflecting the marginalisation of Shideh in the face of the new political regime that she faces. Yeah. So it's things like, again, appearing like a headscarf, hiding the book from which she was studying originally, stopping her from using her VHS exercise tape, which in an earlier scene we learn
is banned.
Yeah, is banned. She'd be in trouble if she was to be caught with that. And so these are all things that like take away her sort of agency as a woman in this new cultural climate. And I don't think that it's any coincidence that the important item that the Jinn takes from Shideh is the book, because it's a reflection of her sort of knowledge and independence as an individual, as well as an item that's given to her by her mother, who clearly wanted her to be a doctor and to have her sort of own, individual career, her own specialties, things like that.
Those are the two main parts of Shideh's identity.
Yeah,
motherhood and being a doctor.
Yeah, exactly. So how do you think we interpret the fact that it takes Dorsa's doll? Because I had an idea that given that Dorsa's doll is a sort of very westernized doll.
Yeah, it has a pink dress.
Yeah.
Fairly white skin.
Yeah. It looks like a Western doll. Yeah. Like, to not put too fine a point on it, it's not a doll that's in a chadder or a burqa or a hijab or whatever. So I was wondering whether you thought that the doll represented sort of Dorsa's future and was like a sort of symbol of what is, maybe comparatively or stereotypically sort of seen to be a free woman. Right. So, like if that represents a free woman and it's been or free womanhood culturally and it's been taken away from Dorsa, is that a sort of representation of the anxiety that Shideh is feeling towards her daughter's future and her future as a woman in this society? Also,
the potential life she could have has been taken away from her.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's like that. If we're seeing everything through Shideh's eyes, and the doll has been taken by the Jinn in Shideh's eyes, then that could be what Shideh thinks is the most important thing to Dorsa. Yeah. And it's been removed from her.
So how would that work on the basis that the doll is given to her by her father, and on the basis that it will protect her?
Well, it could be that it's like a sort of symbol of individual agency, and like it could be that it's given to her and says, "Oh, you'll be protected," but it's more the fact that it's a thing of her property. It's an item of her that belongs to her that is being taken away, and so if it represents her ability to protect herself or to have protection, like that she controls, that she owns herself, and it's being taken away from her, then I suppose it sort of reflects the same point. Although it could also mean just protection generally, and the fact that it's given to her by a man could have some sort of cultural significance.
Yeah, but if we take the route that it's not a Jinn, it's Shideh, that means she does tear it up, And we already know she kind of has it in for this doll, because when the dad first gives it to Dorsa,
Yeah.
this will protect you. The next second, Shideh comes in and takes it off her and says, no toys at the table.
Yeah.
And she seems to take it off her quite frequently.
Mm.
So obviously there's some level of resentment about it. So maybe it's that when the dad says, this will protect you. That's when I'm not here. This will protect you.
Mm.
So Shideh maybe sees that as a
symbol of her father.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm not trying to sort of just bend everything to try and fit my theory.
Yeah.
But I guess you could also see it as, again, she doesn't want it around as a reminder of the future that her daughter no longer has.
Yeah. Yes, I think they're all fair readings. It'd be interesting to find out which is true, which is definitively true.
Yeah, when we speak to the director.
Yeah. So obviously the jinn, Chris, the main force in this film to overcome.
Yeah.
Other than potentially mental illness, but the jinn is the one that's cited, at least in the movie. I have a colleague at work who is, she describes herself as a part-time Muslim.
Okay.
And I was able to ask her a few questions about jinn.
Okay.
I just made some notes, kind of stream of consciousness style about jinn.
Okay.
There's no common cause for a jinn, Chris.
Right.
It can happen to anyone.
Okay.
A jinn is something that worships God, but it can curse you. And people tend to be possessed by jinn. And they become ill for days afterwards.
Okay. Which is what we see with Dorsa.
Exactly, yeah. You've been ill lately, haven't you?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
So traditionally, you're able to tell if someone's infected by a jinn, or to tell if someone is a jinn. Maybe,
right.
Because their feet are turned around the wrong way.
Ouch. Okay.
They're generally used to scare children into behaving themselves.
Okay. Well, like as in the stories about jinn to use.
Yes, exactly. So
as opposed to, you don't summon a jinn to scare a child straight.
No. So like eat your vegetables or a jinn or
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Their leader is basically Satan. The idea being that jinn rebelled against God when he created Adam.
Right.
They're made from smokeless fire.
Okay.
Whereas humans are made from clay.
Right.
And the cure for a jinn is to go to an exorcist or like a cleric, and they'll do an incantation, and you'll be cured. You'll be fixed.
Right.
So that's the word on jinn.
Yeah. Well, of course, jinn is the plural as well, and the singular is genie. Yeah. Which is where you get the English word genie.
Yes.
Which is why you get, where Middle Eastern or which is where we get sort of pop culture westernized depictions of Middle Eastern spirits being called genies from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 wishes? Is that in the Quran?
Maybe. So,
Chris, it's that time of the show. We've talked to death about the film theory and the religious and socio-political context for the film. And now I want to know, if you were haunted by a jinn, how would you survive that experience?
Well, this obviously takes place in the 1980s, which is going back a few years.
Yeah.
Going back even further, obviously when people had ailments or ills, maybe pre sort of standardized medicine.
So you're going pre-early modern period?
Yeah. They'd be going to someone and they've been asked, maybe an apothecary. Yeah. And you'd get some medicines, get some,
ointments.
Salves, ointments, maybe some tonics. And of course, tonics go particularly well with gin. That's my first one.
I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say.
How about you? Any
you did ask for a break just now, and you just wrote in biro for like 15 minutes. Is that what you came up with?
Do you know what? I genuinely did write about 20 minutes ago. I wrote the word tonic on my notes.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I genuinely did write about 20 minutes ago. I wrote the word tonic on my notes.
Yeah.
You got any survival tips?
Yeah. The first one comes from a friend of mine who I asked,
Yeah. Oh, so you've had outside help.
yes, yeah. Go to an expert after all. She just said to avoid heavily wooded areas or something.
Okay. That's non-specific.
Yeah. She didn't.
Tehran's not, from
particularly
what
wooded.
I understand, particularly
She was
forested an area.
my friend was quite sure that trees were risky places.
Yeah.
Didn't explain why. So.
Okay.
Great. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Not good, but better than yours, I think.
well, that remains to be
But
seen.
we all look at gin and tonic, don't we?
Yeah, exactly. So, obviously, How to Survive staple is the old stick to your principles. And of course, Shideh eventually abandons her principle of staying put.
Coward.
In the house, in the apartment block, following the haunting, following all the sort of trials and tribulations through which she goes. But I'm gonna twist the staple advice that we normally give to people in this situation, which is if you're going to abandon your principles anyway, you might as well do it sooner rather than later. Like if you're going to eventually bottle it and leave for the safety of you and your daughter, then do it sooner rather than later, because time is of the essence when at any moment your apartment building could be bombed or shelled. And given the fact that she does eventually leave to go and stay with Iraj's parents,
Cut out the middleman.
yeah, cut out the weeks of trauma and terror.
And presumably lifelong damage to your daughter.
Yeah, like psychologically and potentially physically, having been pulled into a concrete floor.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I think that I know this is close to sort of changing the motivations of the character, which is breaking one of the podcast rules, one of the tenets of our podcast. But I think that given the fact that she, her number one, like what would you consider her number one, the most important thing to her is?
The safety of her daughter.
Yeah, and in that respect, she should do a quick calculation in terms of like if she put her sort of hierarchy of needs as look after daughter, and then underneath that is sort of stoically stay in my apartment building, because to leave would be to sort of admit that I can't take care of my daughter myself.
Right, yeah.
Then, there's one thing that's at the top of the list, and that's look after your daughter. And so that she should do do the list and see that the, cost benefit of each scenario, either staying in a potentially haunted apartment block that could be bombed at any moment, or taking your daughter to your husband's parents, which is sort of frustrating and marginalising, but ultimately could save your daughter's life and your own life.
Your own life, yeah.
And
get you away from the potential haunting.
Yeah. Then there's only one of those two that wins out, in my opinion. I think actually it towards the end, especially when she's sort of doing the workout routine without the video, it begins to sort of approach stubbornness rather than sort of like it's like, well, you're gonna bomb my house, I'm not gonna leave. Oh well, you're gonna make my daughter ill, I'm still not gonna leave, even if all the doctors in the city have left. Oh, you're gonna smash up my exercise tape, I'm still gonna do the exercises. You can't win.
Is that voluntary?
Well, it's subconscious. Even if you're sleepwalking, it's the subconscious is a reflection of your internal
drunk words, sober thoughts, sort of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. And so basically, my advice is to leave earlier, leave sooner, which I admit is not a controversial piece of advice.
No. Well, it could be considered controversial. She wants to explore all the possibilities first.
Yeah.
But I agree. If someone said this building could be bombed and has been bombed, you got out lucky.
Yeah. Would you go? Well, if you did your hierarchy of needs, would it be like top, like live to see another day?
Yeah.
And then just underneath that would be continue recording the How to Survive podcast.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Like, as much as you'd like to continue recording the podcast, if this building was imminently to be bombed...
If a missile landed in the building and didn't go off...
Yeah.
I wouldn't
see you for dust.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
I'd go and stay at my mother-in-law's without a second thought.
Yeah. In rural Iran. How about you? Have you got any further advice?
Yeah, I have. So we mentioned that the jinn seem to prey upon people in high states of anxiety, and that all the events of the film seem to lead both Dorsa and Shideh into what can only be described as a high state of anxiety.
Yeah.
So this comes from helpguide.org.
Great. Okay.
Tips for management of your stress.
Yeah.
So number 1, eat a healthy diet.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the only thing we see Shideh feeding Dorsa is dry toast.
Yes.
Which is not the cornerstone of a healthy diet.
Now, that might be because she's ill. Having recently
Before she's ill, it's the first thing she feeds her.
Right.
Mm.
Okay.
So you're wrong there.
Okay.
But have you been ill?
Yeah.
Did it make you feel better?
Well, what I was going to say was that when I was ill, toast was one of the few things that I could manage to eat.
Mm. And you had a gin.
Yeah, I had a gin. I wish I had a gin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a tonic.
Yes, correct. Maybe a little slice of lemon. Or lime.
Number 2, reduce caffeine and sugar.
Okay.
Now, as we said, all she does is eat bread.
Mm-hmm. High sugar content.
High carb.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, cut that out, right now. Let's have a piece of Parma ham instead, shall we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe take a sort of gluten-free diet.
Yeah. Scrambled eggs.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. Number 3,
mm-hmm.
avoid alcohol, cigarettes, and drugs.
Okay.
Now, we don't see Shideh
Mm.
drinking alcohol, smoking cigarettes, or taking any drugs.
No.
Nor Dorsa, for that matter.
No.
Safe to assume neither of them do.
Yeah.
And I think generally, as a society, it seems that that's not that popular.
No.
Drug taking and alcohol.
No.
So that's fine. There's no evidence that that's happening.
Yeah.
Number 4, get enough sleep.
Mm.
Now.
Difficult when you're being haunted and...
bombed.
Yes, and also sleep exercising.
Compelled to do Jane Fonda's workout DVD when you're actually asleep. Now, that's not restful sleep, is it?
No. It's not REM sleep.
No. So, on that basis, I don't know what... Just don't do that.
Just don't do that. Yeah. Okay.
Which you've already established it's voluntary.
Well, yeah,
you said it was stubbornness.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. Well, yeah, if she doesn't do that, then it might help her get some sleep.
Mm.
It's difficult to sleep in a sort of like, stress position that you're putting yourself through. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's helpguide.org. So do you feel equipped now if you were in a war zone?
I mean, I sometimes suffer with sort of anxiety and stress, even without the war zone. But now... I doubt I'll ever feel any stress or anxiety ever again.
Have you any more thoughts for Shideh or Dorsa, maybe?
Well, my last piece of advice was going to be to leave sooner, but as you might have noticed, I unwittingly managed to combine that into my previous piece of advice, which was stick to your hierarchy of needs or your principles.
Yeah.
So you had 2 for 1 there, Joe.
All right.
But
that's messed up the running order.
Yeah. So. Do you have any final thoughts?
Yeah. Yeah. This is from parents.com.
Okay. Right. Another email in.
Yeah. Parents.com have emailed in.
Yeah.
6 tips for weaning your child's comfort object.
Right.
So we know that obviously Dorsa is very attached to her doll.
Yeah.
Kimia.
Yeah.
So here's some tips for Shideh for getting Dorsa to leave that doll behind.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day...
So what happens, like it says that if a jinn takes something of importance to you, as long as the jinn has it, it sort of will always be haunting you. Which is why the ominous shot at the end of their object. So like, if it took the object, but then during the time when it had the object, you weaned yourself off of it, and therefore it was no longer important to you? Would the djinn just be like, oh shit, I don't have any leverage anymore? Yeah.
Don't become so attached to personal things, and then you'd be fine.
Yeah. Okay. Well, how would Shideh go about getting Dorsa to do that?
Number 1 is time it right.
Okay.
Now, I would say,
yeah.
I mean, the one thing that basically keeps them there for several days at the end is the fact that they're looking for the doll.
Yeah.
Now, time it right. There's a war on.
Yes.
You could be blown to smithereens at any second. That's the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dorsa, come here.
Yeah.
I don't think you need that anymore.
Yeah. Get in the car.
Yeah.
Oh no, I want the doll. Oh,
it's amazing
tough
that
luck.
It's amazing that it took them so long to get the doll back when its name was Khmer.
Number 2, give reasons for the breakup.
Yeah.
When they said breakup, what they mean is
separation. Yeah.
Yeah, from the toy.
Yeah. Would a reason be there's a war?
Yeah. We will die if we don't leave.
Yeah. Yeah.
We will have our limbs blown off and we'll be crushed under a falling building.
Yeah.
If we don't leave now.
Would Khmer want that for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 3, take baby steps.
Okay.
The note that parents.com gives is, tell your child he can have his lovey at home and in the car, but not at the grocery store or the park.
Right.
So what I'd say is...
boundaries.
Yeah. You can have it when there's not a war on.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm noticing a theme that you're coming back to each time. Yeah.
Yeah. Number 4.
Yeah.
Offer a substitute.
Okay.
So I think traditionally you'd say like, oh, you can't have, teddy bear, but you could have a ball, a football or...
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you can't have the doll, but you can have full working movement of your limbs.
Yeah, and not be dead.
Yeah.
What would you like more? To have a doll or to not be dead?
Yeah. Yes. Number 5, treat the matter lightly.
Yes.
Now, you may recall, Chris, Shideh does not treat the matter lightly.
No.
She tears the house apart in front of the daughter.
Yeah, looking for it.
Yeah. And daughter says like,
yeah,
I'm not that bothered by it now. And she's like, no, we're gonna find it.
Yeah. So what if Shideh's just like, oh well, there'll be other dolls.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plenty more fish in the sea.
Yeah. I'll buy you another doll. Oh no, it's already at Grandma's. We sent it on there.
Yeah. You know what? There aren't lots of others of people here in Tehran.
Lives lived by you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Opportunities to escape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And number 6, this final point, is to expect regression.
Right.
I assume the point there is like, oh, if...
Yeah, they're going to get stressed.
They're going to want to go back and find the doll. Fine.
Yeah.
Better to do that than be dead.
We'll go back when there's not a war on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's basically it. So...
Yeah. What you should do is explain the hierarchy of needs system to Dorsa and go, at the top of your list should be not being dead at all times. And then however far down the list is
have doll.
Have a doll. Yeah. Or maybe it should be like have Khmer, and then right under that is have another doll.
Yeah.
Because I'm 7 years old.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm going to add 0.7 here, which isn't from parents.com. It's just from Joe Shovel.
From HowToSurviveShow.com.
Yeah. From HowToSurviveShow.com.
Yeah.
You're an adult.
Yeah.
Just put the kid in the car and drive.
Yeah.
What are they going to do? Cry? Oh, fuck them. Like, they'll stop crying.
You know what doesn't cry?
Dead people.
A dead person. A person who's been bombed into ash.
Yeah.
Yeah. And on that note...
If you've got any thoughts on how you would have survived in Under the Shadow.
Yeah.
Which is verging on the, inappropriate, I think.
Probably. Especially the way we've just been talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't you flee your home? Why don't you live like a refugee?
Oh, yeah.
It's very easy, actually.
Hilarious.
If you have got any thoughts, do get in touch. HowToSurviveShow@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Or on Twitter. You can reach us anytime.
Mm-hmm.
And you put out tweets.
Yeah.
Funny YouTube videos we've seen.
Yeah.
Pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Updates on movies we're watching.
Yeah.
That's at HowToSurvivePod on Twitter.
Listen, I know you hear this every week, but maybe this time, statistically, lots of you are going to have Twitter accounts. So maybe this time, today is the day. Just go on Twitter, It doesn't take a lot to just go to @HowToSurvivePod, click subscribe. You get all the updates. Maybe you'll have a good time. We'll have some laughs.
Yeah. We tweet you back.
Yeah.
Someone says, "Oh, what's your favourite film?" We'll say,
Yeah.
"Fucking Nacho Libre."
Yeah. Forrest Gump.
Yeah. Shawshank Redemption.
Exactly.
And of course, if you've got any friends who you think would like listening to this show,
Mm-hmm.
share it with them on Twitter or email or any way you want.
Yeah.
What I'd do, right, is go on their phone, get their passcode, go on their phone, download every episode.
Yeah, without their knowledge.
Yeah, and then it'll be a nice surprise for them when it comes to it. Then also send it to everyone in their address book.
Yeah. Yeah. We should make some sort of like robot that could do that for us.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's legal, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe that's fine.
It's fine.
It take their credit card details as well. Because that's, I mean, if you download 70 episodes, you must like it.
Exactly.
It's free content, but what's a donation?
Yeah.
We do this for fucking free. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like what? So what we've done, like stolen your credit card details. Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Yeah. What are you gonna do? Have us arrested?
Yeah. I want to see you try, because actually we're above the law.
Yeah.
You send one of these cops round. We've seen the sort of cops you guys are.
Yeah, exactly. The How to Survive Show police we see week in, week out.
Yeah. They're gonna show up. They're gonna announce that they're there to arrest us.
Yeah. Walk into a dark room.
Yeah.
Bang. Crowbar to the head.
Yeah. That's the end of them.
Yeah.
So you just think about that next time you're thinking about not leaving us a review on iTunes.
Or your podcatcher of choice.
Yeah. That's the sort of thing people do, isn't it?
Yeah.
When they like something, they review it so everyone knows how much they love it.
Oh.
Why are you not sharing it on Facebook?
God,
you're not sharing it on Facebook, are you?
Joe, this sort of anger that we're showing the listener, it's not our usual personality, is it?
No.
It's very much a reflection of next week's film, Split.
The M. Night
where a man has different personalities.
M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah.
Hasn't done a good film since Sixth Sense, has he? Really? If you're being honest.
Has he? Maybe Split is the one. Find out next week.
What's the twist going to be, in your opinion? So, as far as I know the story,
yeah,
some little like teenage girls get kidnapped by
a man who
James McAvoy.
Yeah, he's got 18 different
20 odd.
Yeah. A lot of different personalities.
Yeah.
And he sort of physically changes a little bit every time he changes his personality.
And I think I see in the trailer that somehow his psychology is changing his genetics or his physiology.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Some shit. What's the twist going to be?
I think that there's sort of oblique references in the trailer to sort of like a monster or like a monstrous personality. And I think the assumption is going to be that it's just like a violent man, but then actually it is genuinely a monster, like he's a werewolf or something like that.
All will be revealed next week on the How to Survive podcast, episode 78. Thank you very much for listening, and until next time, goodbye to you, Chris. And goodbye to you, Joe. And goodbye to you, the listener.